welcome to another one of my videos. Today I will be talking about what is the best high school job, and I'm going to mainly be focusing on the amount of money that they make per hour, not necessarily, the most enjoyable. So the first section I have is what I would call regular jobs, and what I mean by that is jobs where you work for someone else and you're not self-employed. So the first one is probably what everybody thinks of when they think of a high schooler working, and that's fast food. So I'm not sure if it means flipping patties at McDonald's or working the cash register or the drive-thru, even though a lot of the time when I go through fast food places, especially at night, everybody's just on their phone and nobody's working. So it might not be that hard of a job. I still don't think it's enjoyable because nobody looks happy there. The average pay at a fast food place is about $12 an hour, so this is not bad. It's above minimum wage in most states, and I think is enough for a high schooler to, get started. It's not great, but it's okay. And one thing you'll have to think about for every job in this video is that they will most likely be getting paid more than whatever I say. Because of the huge job crisis, everywhere is giving out more money than they used to because they can't hire anybody. Especially to these low-level jobs where people know, hey, if I hate it here and I don't want to work tomorrow, I'm just not going to show up, and if I get fired, it's no big deal because next day I'll just find a new job at the next Burger King or McDonald's. I looked through all of the fast food places, and they all seem to pay in the same general range. The $9 to start was what I saw in a lot of places. However, I know I've seen advertising for more than that in the past year. From what I could find, In-N-Out is the highest paid with starting at $13 an hour. The next one that I thought of was to work at a ice cream store. So the average pay for them is $11 an hour. An upside is you get free ice cream. Downside is you get fat. but more seriously, the upside is it's generally a decent work environment to work at an ice cream store. Everybody's always happy when they come in. The hours are probably not terrible that you have to work. And in most places you get tips. So the $11 an hour could be more if you do good service. The next job that I went to is entirely dependent on tips, is being a waiter or a waitress. So the average in the United States for this is $16 an hour. So that's above the ice cream and the fast food so far, so it puts it as the number one as of right now. So there are a few qualifications for being a waiter. One, you have to like people and be friendly, and two is that people have to like you. So if you like people and they don't like you, then it's not going to go well. Also, you have to have a good memory, because if you forget what everyone orders, then they're not going to like you, they're not going to tip you, and then you're working for almost nothing. One tip is, maybe if you flirt with the customers, they'll give you more money. So I've never been a waiter, but it could work. The next job that I thought of for a high schooler is a lifeguard. So this is strictly a summer job, but when I think of high school jobs, lifeguard is in the top 5 for sure. So the average lifeguard pays $12 an hour. So a downside for this is, one, it sounds fun to be at the pool all day, but it's very boring because you're just sitting on a chair watching people swim. Another thing is that you have to get a license to be a lifeguard, so it involves some training. It's not like McDonald's where you can just walk in and, work the hamburger machine or the grill, as they call it. Another qualification for this job is you have to be in good shape, because if you're really out of shape or if you can't swim, you're not going to be able to save anybody. The next job that I thought of was being a delivery driver. And for this, I'm kind of including both, Grubhub or DoorDash or whatever, or working for Papa John's as a delivery driver, because they both pay about the same from what I can tell. So it says the national average is $14 an hour. A few things you have to think about for this is, how bad is your car? So if your car sucks, then it's going to break down and you're going to not be able to work, and you're going to have to pay money to fix your car. And if your car is good, then do you really want to put that many miles on it and risk it falling apart? Especially since the money is not that great. But an upside is you get to be in your car all day, which means you're not surrounded by people you don't like, and you can listen to music or do whatever you want. and there are tips, so you might make more. The next job that I thought of was being a cashier. Now, in my opinion, this is the worst. You just stand at like a checkout counter all day and scan things. Everyone kind of ignores you. You don't really talk to people. You just scan. It's always busy, and it sounds terrible. And it says the average pay is $11 an hour. So if you can't find anything else, I guess that's okay, but I would hate it. The last option I have as of a real job is working for Amazon, or where I am, they have UPS. So what I mean by that is you work in a factory and you kind of just move boxes all day. It pays pretty well. From the people I know, it pays about $20 an hour. It says the national average is $23 an hour. The downsides are you have to move boxes all day, so it's tiring, and a lot of the time they want you to work terrible hours. Like, I know a lot of the time UPS was really looking for people who work in the middle of the night. But if you're looking for a workout, maybe it's an option. I mean, you can either go to the gym and spend an hour there, or you can move boxes for 6 hours every day. And it pays the highest out of all of the real jobs. And you're also going to join this kind of brotherhood that I've seen among people who work at like Amazon or UPS. And it seems like everybody who does that, they kind of bond through hating it. So it sounds like a kind of cool thing to be a part of. So now I'm going to the last three options, which are kind of unconventional jobs. And what I mean by that is that you're self-employed. So the first option is being a babysitter. From what I could see, the average hourly rate for being a babysitter is like $18 to $20 depending on the amount of kids and their ages and everything. One thing about being a babysitter is it's probably not consistent hours that you'll get, so you won't have as consistent money. Another thing is you have to deal with kids, so that can be good or terrible, and you have to find parents that trust you. So I know for a lot of guys this isn't an option because a lot of people don't trust guys with kids for some reason. But if you do find a good family to do it for, it does pay well, and it will probably be pretty flexible hours, and you'll make decent money, especially for a high school student. The next option I have is kind of doing odd tasks. And what I mean by that is like yard work, or helping someone move, or helping someone bring their groceries inside is something I did. And when I started doing that when I was 14, I was charging $15 an hour, and I can't find anywhere that says what it pays because it's self-employed and you kind of charge your own rate. But I think with today's market, you could probably get $18 to $20 an hour pretty frequently. In order to do this, you're going to have to get your name out there through social media websites and websites such as Nextdoor, where people are looking for the jobs. You also have to be willing to meet with a lot of strangers that you don't know. Like, I know I met with hundreds of people that I had no clue who they were and just did various odd tasks for them. For a lot of these jobs, you also have to be willing to work outside in the summer and be willing to do jobs that they don't want to do. So, like, if they wanted to do it, of course, they wouldn't hire you. So it's a pretty undesirable job, but it does pay pretty well. The last job I have is cutting grass. So this is what I did for about 4 or 5 years. I did it for a while, and I'm still doing it a little bit. From my experience, cutting grass, you can make about $30 an hour. Now, there is gas and equipment. So for this video, I'm going to lower it down to 25. Some things for this are you have to have equipment, you have to have a way to move it, and you have to be willing to work consistently. When it comes to cutting grass, you can't just decide not to work for 2 weeks, because then all the grass is going to be 2 feet tall, and then the grass is going to turn into hay, and it's going to be a lot of work for you to deal with. It is a little bit harder to find these jobs, but they are out there if you're looking for it, and I think anybody who has a lawnmower and transportation could start a grass cutting business and have 20 or 30 yards within the first year if they just work hard and are consistent and spread it through word of mouth. So now I've gone through all of them, and I made this chart, and I tried really hard to get the colors to be different, but they just wouldn't. So some of the colors are similar, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. This one at 25, much above the rest, is cutting grass. The next one at 22 is working at Amazon or UPS. Then at 18 is being a babysitter, 16 is being a waiter, and 17 is doing the odd jobs I just talked about. And then everything else is kind of down below it. And this just kind of shows that there's a few jobs that I think are a little more physically demanding or less desirable that pay a step above the rest, and then everything else is kind of at the same. If I were to get into a job in high school, I would definitely do either cutting grass or working at Amazon. just because I'm willing to do the physical work, and if I'm working, I want to make as much money as possible. So thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover.